Bone here, and it is time for us to recap and review the chaotic 2025 F1 Mexico City Grand Prix race weekend that started out weird and somehow ended even weirder. Thanks for watching, and let's dive in. Bone! First and foremost, we were all just viciously robbed of what would have been the best Formula One race ending of the entire F1 season, but not how you might think. Here's the story. Over the years, the Mexico City Grand Prix has grown a reputation for being one of Formula One's more boring races due to how difficult overtaking can be at the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez. But that was not the case whatsoever at this year's race, which was chock full of action from lap 1 through the final lap. Or should I say, lap 1 through the second to last lap, as we were robbed of what would have been the best race ending of the season in the worst way possible. With 2 laps remaining in the 2025 F1 Mexico City Grand Prix, there were 2 intense battles playing out on track. In the first battle, you had McLaren's Oscar Piastri in P5, just behind Haas's Ollie Bearman in P4. This battle was intense because if Oscar could overtake Ollie, Oscar would still be leading the F1 World Drivers' Championship after this race instead of his McLaren teammate and title rival Lando Norris, who was about to win the race by a literal mile. And if Ollie could hold off Oscar, he would achieve his and his team Haas's best ever Grand Prix results. In the second battle, you had Red Bull's Max Verstappen in P3, literally right on the rear wing of Ferrari's Charles Leclerc in P2, just moments away from catching him. This battle was intense because if Max could overtake Leclerc, it would cap off a legendary tire stint and also give Max 3 extra championship points that he desperately needs if he's going to catch up to the McLarens in the Drivers' Championship by the end of the season. Plus, anytime podium positions might change around at the end of a race, it is supremely exciting. And then, in the blink of an eye, bang! Both of these battles were effectively ended on the second to last lap before they could come to what surely would have been an exhilarating climax. Why? Because a virtual safety car, or VSC, was called out in order to deal with the broken down car of Carlos Sainz in the Foro Sol Stadium section. A VSC prevents drivers from gaining ground on the car ahead of them and thus prevents any overtaking, and because this VSC came out when it did and lasted for as long as it lasted, it ruined both of these once exciting battles, making it so neither one got to a point where the driver behind could attempt an overtake before the end of the race. Lame. Having just one of those types of battles at the end of a race makes a race amazing. Having 2 would have been insane. Thanks a lot, VSC. Now, everyone has been quick to criticize the FIA and its race directors for calling out the VSC. This is not only because the VSC completely ruined what would have been an insanely entertaining race end with 2 huge battles coming to their heads, but also because it appeared as if Sainz's broken down car was no longer even on the circuit at the time the VSC was called after Sainz had driven it behind some barriers after he spinned into a wall. However, and it pains me to do this, okay, it really does, but blame here rests not with the FIA, surprisingly, but with Carlos Sainz, who very clearly stopped his car some feet short of being entirely behind the barriers. Because Carlos's car's rear end was poking out and his brakes were lightly smoking, marshals were required to come out from behind the barriers in order to deal with what looked like a potential fire hazard on an immobile car, and the race had to be put under VSC conditions in order to safely remove Sainz's car from the circuit. Personally, I think had Sainz pulled all the way up, we would not have gotten a VSC, as the car would not have had to be moved and the smoke stopped not long after it started, removing the potential fire hazard. We'll never know what would have happened if Sainz had just pulled up a little bit more. All we do know is that officially, Lando Norris won the race by taking P1 30.3 seconds ahead of Leclerc in P2, which is the biggest winning margin of the season. Verstappen took P3, Bearman took P4, and Piastri took P5. Now, unfortunately for the FIA, this whole virtual safety car situation is the least of their worries when it comes to the Mexico City Grand Prix. Why? The shocking images of a Formula One driver almost hitting 2 people during an F1 race are very real and not AI. Here's what happened. The Mexico City Grand Prix got out of hand before the cars even made it through turn 1 on lap 1, with the apex of the race's first turn featuring numerous incidences of cars running wide, running off track, and running into each other. Notably, V-Carb rookie Liam Lawson collided with Williams' Carlos Sainz at turn 1, destroying Lawson's front wing. Because a broken front wing is a race-ruining damage issue, Lawson came into the pit lane at the end of lap 2 to get a new front wing put on, and when he exited the pit lane and eventually came back around turn 1 on lap 3, this is the scene he unexpectedly came upon that no F1 driver nor F1 marshals should ever have to deal with. Yes, 2 marshals who were cleaning up the damage from Lawson's collision and other turn 1 collisions almost got hit by Lawson as they crossed the racetrack. And that is not an exaggeration either. Look at the images and you'll see just how close Lawson got to colliding with these marshals. It is truly shocking. Obviously, something like this should never happen in modern safety-first Formula 1, so let's investigate how it did. The FIA claimed the following in a statement made after the race. Quote, "Following a turn 1 incident, race control was informed that debris was present on the track at the apex of that corner. On lap 3, marshals were alerted and placed on standby to enter the track and recover the debris once all cars had passed turn 1. As soon as it became apparent that Lawson had pitted, the instructions to dispatch marshals were rescinded and a double yellow flag was shown in that area. We are still investigating what occurred after that point." End quote. So it looks like it was some sort of breakdown in communication between the FIA and its marshals that led to this incident, though it remains to be seen if either the FIA or marshals are more to blame here. Psst, my money's on the incompetent FIA, for the record. Regardless of whether it was the FIA who were late to react to Lawson's pit stop, the marshals who were late to react to the FIA's messages, both of those things, the FIA lying about the timeline of events, which I wouldn't put past them, the buck stops with the FIA, and so all blame is put on them, as it is their job to ensure driver and marshal safety and to make sure that this never happens again. So here's to hoping I never have to cover a story like this ever again, because next time it could have a much worse ending. Before I move on to further breaking down the collection of chaos that was the Mexico City Grand Prix, this show is sponsored by Liquid IV. The lazy days of summer are officially in the rearview mirror, and something I know from personal experience is that if you bring laid-back summer vibes into fall, you're gonna have a bad time that results in you falling behind and having to work on Halloween and Thanksgiving. It's not fun, people. Transitioning from the relaxed vibe of summer to dialing in your fall routine takes energy, focus, and stamina, and that's what you can get with Liquid IV's new Energy Multiplier Sugar-Free Hydrating Energy. Not only does Liquid IV's sugar-free hydrating energy have a 2-to-1 ratio of L-theanine to caffeine that provides balanced energy without the jitters, but it also hydrates you while providing you with that energy, which is revolutionary in my opinion. That is my favorite thing about sugar-free hydrating energy, and why I use it to fight off that fall afternoon productivity crash and also before workouts. Not only does it give me energy, but the hydration boost makes me feel good when I drink it, which is not the case with me and energy drinks. After all, just 1 stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone and has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, all while providing you with some extra energy you can use to conquer fall. What's not to love? Don't let the grind drain you. Ditch the glitch with 0 sugar and 0 crash from Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code FBONE at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code FBONE at liquidiv.com. All right, back to discussing the Mexico City Grand Prix. The Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship officially has a new championship leader for the first time in over half a year, and his name is Lando Norris. Or, as you may know him better after the events of the Mexico City Grand Prix, Lando Norris. Yes, Lando Norris may have been booed out the wazoo at the Mexico City Grand Prix, but he does not care because for the first time since the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix back in April, Lando Norris is once again leading the 2025 F1 World Drivers' Championship instead of his McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri. However, Lando's lead is not a very large one at all. In fact, it's the literal slimmest of margins. Lando merely has a 1-point lead over his McLaren teammate and title rival Oscar Piastri, with Piastri holding the most wins tiebreaker. Side note, Lando can thank Carlos Sainz for this championship lead, as if Sainz had, not brought out that virtual safety car at the end of the Mexico City Grand Prix by just parking behind the barrier, Oscar Piastri very well may have overtaken Ollie Behrman and taken P4, which would have resulted in Oscar remaining in first place in the Drivers' Championship rant over. Let's be real though, Lando's current lead is merely a symbolic one for now, given how slim it is. With 4 Grand Prix and 2 sprint races remaining, that 1-point lead means absolutely nothing, as there are a ton of points left up for grabs for Oscar, Lando, and dark horse championship contender Max Verstappen. As Oscar's post-Mexico Instagram caption noted, there is still everything to play for, folks. Heck, Vegas does not even feel comfortable about who's going to win this championship, with the odds-on championship favorite switching from Oscar to Max to Lando all in the last 3 races. When I tell people that we are in for an all-time great end to this F1 season, people seem to think I'm being overdramatic and hyperbolic, but look at the numbers, folks. We have 3 drivers within 36 points of each other at the top of the Drivers' Championship leaderboard with 4 Grand Prix and 2 sprint races left. We are truly, honestly, set up to witness what could be one of the greatest F1 season endings of all time, and anyone who denies that is a Nimrod. Next up, here's how the L-Bones F1 Rookie of the Year race standings look after the Mexico City Grand Prix weekend. As a reminder, I'm judging the F1 rookies all season long based on their performances relative to their cars, not just points scored. After each race, I award my last place rookie 0 points and my first place rookie 5 points, and the winner of L-Bones F1 Rookie of the Year race will be the rookie with the most points come the end of the season. Here is how my 2025 rookie standings looked entering the Mexico City Grand Prix, and here are my Mexico City Grand Prix rookie rankings that I am very confident you'll agree with. In last place, I have Alpine rookie Franco Colapinto, who qualified last and then finished the race last of all race finishers. Franco's car is so awful that the bar is super low for him to finish not last in my Grand Prix rookie rankings. He pretty much just has to finish ahead of his struggling teammate Pierre Gasly and have another rookie have a somewhat bad weekend, and he'll get the nod. However, if Franco can't do that and goes double last place, he kind of has to be my bottom rookie, okay? My hands are tied. In 5th place, it's V-Carb rookie Liam Lawson. Lawson did at the very least make Q2 in qualifying, but some lap 1 damage at the start of the Grand Prix wound up ending his race early, a race that fortunately was not ended even sooner by Liam Lawson hitting a Marshall, which came very close to happening. In 4th place, it's V-Carb rookie Isaac Hadjar. Hadjar qualified an impressive P9, way above his teammate Liam Lawson, and started at P8 due to a Sainz grid penalty, but the Grand Prix just did not go his way as he wound up dropping out of the points late in the race and then finishing a lowly P13 due to him not having new soft tires to use for his final stint. In 3rd place, I'm going with Mercedes rookie Kimi Antonelli, who, for the first time in his Formula 1 career, finished a Grand Prix ahead of his experienced Mercedes teammate George Russell, despite starting the race 2 positions behind him on the starting grid after overtaking him on lap 6. Well done, Kimi. In 2nd place, it's Sauber rookie Gabby Bortoleto, who, despite starting the race P16, managed to make a late race charge on new soft tires and finish in the points for the first time in his last 4 Grand Prix. And that means in 1st place, it is of course Haas rookie Ollie Behrman, who not only had his best ever race result by some way, finishing P4 in a Haas to make my Haas delusion syndrome go berserk, but also tied Haas's best ever result as a team with that P4. Let's be honest, we all expected Ollie to plummet down the order after seeing him running so high in the beginning, considering, he had never completed a lap in the top 6 entering Mexico, but Ollie simply would not drop out of the top 4, helped out by that virtual safety car at the end of the race, but still. And the cherry on top was that Ollie's Haas teammate Esteban Ocon finished P9 to make it the best 5-word sentence in the English language. Double points finish for Haas. So here are the updated L-Bones F1 Rookie of the Year race standings as the rookies gear up for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix next weekend. Let me know your thoughts on them in the comments. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. Ooh. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy, just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love about Indeed is that it makes hiring so fast because they have streamlined the process so your business can get back to business faster. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there are no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. Whether you're hiring or looking for a job, go to that URL right now. You won't. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/FBone. Just go to Indeed.com/FBone right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/FBone. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Finally today, we sadly need to discuss how my 3 Bone-afide F1 Mexico City Grand Prix race predictions ended up. Do we actually need to? Actually, we do? Fine. In case you have no idea who I am, my name is Bone and I make 3 predictions ahead of every single F1 race. I entered the Mexico City Grand Prix at 25 for 57, aka 44% on the season with my F1 race predictions, and the fact that I'm below 50% means my name is currently Bone instead of the usual J-Bone on account of how many prediction L's I'm taking. I am doing everything in my power to make correct predictions that get me back at or above 50% ASAP so that my name can go back to J-Bone by the end of the season, and folks, it's going really badly. My first Mexico City Grand Prix race prediction was that Max Verstappen would win the Mexico City Grand Prix, and he did not even come close as Lando Norris won it by over 30 seconds from Charles Leclerc in P2, with Max Verstappen finishing P3. You can make the case that Max would have finished P2 if that virtual safety car wasn't called, but certainly not P1. You know what that means, folks. I am officially the world's biggest Formula One jinx. For the last 6 Grand Prix in a row, the driver I have predicted to win each F1 race, which has always been one of the 3 title favorites of Max, Lando, or Oscar, has ended up not only not winning the Grand Prix, but not even finishing in second place, and sometimes not even finishing the race. I predicted Lando to win the Dutch Grand Prix where he DNF'd, Oscar to win in Italy where he finished P3, Oscar to win in Baku where he DNF'd, Lando to win in Singapore where he finished P3, Oscar to win the USGP where he finished P5, and now Max to win in Mexico where he finished P3. Now, I was pretty certain I was an overall Formula One jinx before Mexico, but not 100% sure since it only had to do with McLaren drivers up to that point, so I devised a plan to potentially confirm it at the potential expense of Max Verstappen. You see, Lando and Oscar fans have been blaming my unintentional Lando and Oscar jinxes for the recent World Drivers' Championship comeback Max has been mounting on their favorite drivers. Therefore, I came up with a win-win plan. I picked the in-form Max Verstappen to win in Mexico to test if I truly am the world's biggest Formula One jinx. If Max were to win, I'd get a prediction correct, of which I'm in need of badly these days since I'm well below 50% with my predictions this season. And if Max were to lose, I'd have the fact that I'm a huge overall F1 jinx finally confirmed, and also I would undo some of the jinx damage I unintentionally did to Lando and Oscar to make the championship battle a little bit more fair. But here's the deal, folks, and this is important. Now that it's been officially confirmed I'm an overall F1 jinx, and it's not just a McLaren thing, I will not be using my powers for evil like many of you keep asking me to do by asking me to jinx your rival drivers. All I can do going forwards is give my honest thoughts on who I think is going to win each race, and if it's a jinx, but it's at least in good faith, okay? I promise right now, I will not be intentionally jinxing drivers just for the sake of jinxing them. If I pick them, they're who I think's gonna win, and you all have to deal with it. And so do they. And if you're wondering, yes, this means my upcoming Sao Paulo Grand Prix predictions next week are 100% going to be my most eagerly anticipated predictions ever since I started making predictions back in 2021. Moving on, my second race prediction was that George Russell would finish on the podium at the 2025 Mexico City Grand Prix, and again, like with me predicting Max to finish P1, George did not even come close. I could sit here in this race car bed and lie to you by saying that if Mercedes had pulled team orders 5 laps earlier and let George pass Kimi, that maybe George could have made a podium push, but there is simply no way I could say that with a straight face because it would be a complete lie given the paces of Max Verstappen, Ollie Behrman, and Oscar Piastri. George finished an embarrassing P7 even behind his teammate Kimi Antonelli for the first time ever, and P7 is not even on the double podium if that was a thing that included P1 to P6, which maybe it should be. And my third race prediction was that Alex Albon would finish in the points at the Mexico City Grand Prix. Now, I mostly made this prediction because Albon sounded like El Bon, my Mexico City Grand Prix specific nickname. And yeah, that logic may have been flawed. Instead of admitting that, though, I'll instead blame Williams Racing for giving Albon what he declared to be the worst race strategy ever. Yes, people, I did officially go 0 for 3 in Mexico, okay? Apparently, my driver jinxing problem might be even bigger than just my race winner predictions and may extend out to my podium and points predictions too. I don't know. Is that what's happening, or is it just a coincidence? This absolutely awful 0 for 3 performance in Mexico City means I'm at 25 for 60, aka 42% for the season with 4 Grand Prix remaining. If I go perfect from here on out, that'll take me to 37 for 72, aka 51% for the season, so we're not dead yet, folks. Comment with the bone emoji and some words of encouragement for me, L-Bone, to show your support for me, L-Bone, getting back to being named J-Bone. I'm gonna need it, so please do it, please. Toss me a subscription now and ring that notification bell so that you'll get my Sao Paulo Grand Prix preview video that will include my Brazil predictions next week right when it drops. And don't forget to like, comment, and leave me some YouTube hype points as well. All of that really helps me out. I'll be responding to a ton of comments left on this video, and if you don't believe me, leave a comment along with some hype points and find out for yourself. Special shout out to my top YouTube channel members: Joe Max's #1 hater Snow, Brian Linton, Wolf Loves Racing, Waffleophagus, Melissa Cruz, Omar Zuber, Logan, and David Hake. Mash that join button just below this video to get your name shouted out right there in future videos. And if you want to join 1,000 plus F1 fans in the free to join Formula Bone Discord, you can go do that through the join link in the description. Until next time, folks, L-Bone! L-Bone!